Hey everybody, it is me, Danny, and I am here live with you at the lounge tonight, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. as promised. And I'm very excited about what we're going to be talking about tonight. I feel like it's a topic that's very relative to the time, and it's something that I've been recently inspired by. So it's a pretty new thing for me that I've been exploring, and I'm excited to explore it with you. So if this is your first time at the lounge, let me introduce myself. My name is Danny. And I am the owner of this wonderful establishment. This is our virtual Drinking Buddies Lounge. It's where we are redefining the bar conversation and changing our worlds one drink at a time. We are all about growth, enlightenment, dreaming, and realizing those dreams. So I'm really excited to have you here. Comment below. Let me know if this is your first time, if you're a regular at the lounge, if someone invited you. I know we've got some new members. We're officially over 150, so I'm so excited about that. And I just want to thank everybody for participating and making this place super fun. And I promise you this weekend, I will be bringing you that basketball challenge. And Yvette, I see you. We'll just leave it at that. I see you. For those of you that are just joining us, this is your Wednesday night live at the lounge. So what are we going to be talking about tonight? Well, I have been really inspired lately by poker players. Let me get my drink. Let's drink wine and judge people. That's great. Oh, thanks, Amy. I see you. Okay. So I have been really inspired lately by poker players, which is funny because it's been a long time since I've played poker, but I do really, really enjoy playing poker. If I'm at like a casino, I love playing 3-card poker, although there's like no skill to it at all. I just like it. But I am at Texas Hold'em. Normally cash, although I will play tournament, but I like to sit down. I like to play stupid, play a couple dumb hands, and then when people aren't expecting it, show them that I know how to play, take all the money, and walk away. Lots of fun. The problem is I normally drink too much while I'm playing poker. Shocker, I know. And then I get carried away. I end up going all out on a bad hand, and I walk away with nothing. So that's my poker my poker story. But the strategy of poker and the game of poker, I really love. And one of the things I talked about this Saturday, and it got my mind spinning, is the idea of playing the hand that you're dealt and not letting your circumstances define you. And, I related it back to COVID, but this could be really relative to anybody at any time in your life. Like we are confronted in situations and circumstances all the time that are not ideal. So if those of you don't play poker, hopefully you at least know that if you get a 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace, and they are all the same suit or symbol, that's the best hand you can have. We call that a royal flush. And when you have a royal flush, you can play that hand any which way you want to. You are not going to lose. It doesn't matter. Now it's just a matter of how much are you going to win. And there's a couple hands in poker that are, depending on what's on the table, if I've got a full house, if I have a straight flush, there are a couple of hands there where I can feel pretty good about my poker play. And then there are other hands where maybe you have a pair, 3 of them match, you get 3 of a kind, and you're like, hey, that's decent and it's worth playing. And then other times you have, Jack high and you realize that's stupid and you fold it or whatever. But professional poker players, people that go to like the World Series of Poker and end up at the final table. I don't know if you guys have ever watched professional poker players, but I would encourage you just to YouTube like 10 best World Series of Poker series of all time and just watch the poker games, right? So these people are playing for insane amounts of money. They're playing for sponsorships. They're playing sometimes for their seat at the next tournament. There's so much stuff on the line for these poker players. And there's a reason why the great players are always playing in the tournaments and they always make it to the final table. It's not, if it was just a game of luck, if it was just a game of cards, if it was just, that's how the cards were shuffled, that's how the cards were dealt, that's how the cookie crumbles, whatever saying you want to put in there, you wouldn't always see the same people playing in the top. You would see all sorts of randomness, right? That's why Texas Hold'em isn't necessarily a game that casinos play unless they're scraping off the top, because the house has to win somehow, right? And so when you watch them play, you start to realize that they're not necessarily playing the cards that they're dealt. Now, that doesn't mean if they end up with like a 9-2 offsuit that they're going to go all in, right? But they're playing the room. They're playing the circumstance. They're taking inventory of the people at the table. They're watching who bets when and what, that's why they wear sunglasses. Or the guy I was watching today, he's got like his shirt pulled up around his mouth. You'd think he like was pre-worrying about the COVID. This was in 2017. They're playing their circumstance. They're not letting their circumstances play them. So I had an example and I wrote some of this down because it was very, very interesting as I was watching these poker greats and I was trying to understand, like, what is that like to play the circumstances, to know that, to be so confident in your ability and your expertise and your skills that you're not necessarily dependent on the cards that you hold, but you are dependent on what you have in your gut, in your soul, like in who you are as a person, as that talent. Like, what does that look like when you start watching some of the greats? And I watched a couple of, this was the World Series of Poker, Europe, and it was in 2017 final table. And there were two guys that were back and forth the whole, I mean, as soon as they got to the table together, it just seemed like there was nobody else at the table because these two were always playing. And Speranza, one of the players, gets dealt. I'm going to look at some notes. I don't want to make sure I get the facts right. He looks at his cards and he's dealt an 8-4 suited. They're clubs. Again, if you don't play poker, they're suited. You can make a couple of options here. You might be able to get 5 of the same suit. That's a flush. It's pretty exciting. They were at 8-4. You could possibly string them together on a straight. That's probably pretty unlikely. You're not really going to get a high pair. There's not a lot of great happening with 8-4 clubs, except for maybe the option of a potential flush. But even that, a little dodgy. And then there was another guy named Yonkers. And he was sitting at the table the whole time with his like sweatshirt pulled up to his nose and making sure like no tells were there. I mean, very, very intense. But both these gentlemen actually they did not wear sunglasses. They were both very much into the eye contact, which if you watch poker, that's a lot of the poker players, they don't want to give away their tells. Though you think about it, when you're in a circumstance or a situation that's stressful, if you want to be able to play the circumstance instead of having the circumstance play you, you might not want to give away how nervous you are, how fearful you are, how intimidated you are. So, it makes sense that these guys are wearing sunglasses when you're actually seeing someone play circumstance live out on, national TV. And Yonkers gets dealt the ace of spades and a 7 of diamonds, which supposedly, rumor has it, is the hand he has tattooed on his butt. Now, no one can confirm or deny. I did not do any research. If any of you would like to, you can. His name is Yonkers, spelled with a J, and he's supposed to have an ace and 7 tattooed to his butt, if you want to confirm and deny that. So pre-flop, which means we just got these two players with their 2 cards in their hands before any other cards come out on the table. They're about even odds. It's like 41-59, but it's not terribly 40-60, let's just call it, okay? And Yonkers has the lead because he has an ace, and that could be the high card. And right now there's nothing else at play. The first 3 cards come down, known as the flop, for those of you that don't know how to play. And there's a 5 of spades, a 10 of diamonds, and a jack of clubs. Now, what's happened here is our good friend Sparata with the clubs is starting to realize his idea of a flush is falling out of the picture. Yonkers has nothing but an ace high, right? So now at this time, the odds are actually in Speranza's favor for his flush. Both guys check. No one wants to bet. The next card comes down. It's a 6 of clubs. And now that flush is looking a little bit more promising. The odds sway again. And now Speranza's in the lead at 61%. Both guys flush. They're just intense. They both check. So neither one wants to bet. They're intense. They're staring each other down. They're looking at the cards. They're like not losing eye contact. And you can just tell in their minds, they're playing the circumstance. Neither one looks necessarily nervous. Neither one has any particularly good hand. Neither one is sitting there at the table with the bad beat or the winning. You're like, I've got this. They're really both in this complete state right now of total unknown. And this is the final table of the World Series of Poker in 2017. So like everything is on the line with these shitty cards. Like that's just what's happening. The next card reveals itself, and it's the Queen of Diamonds, which doesn't make a hand for either gentleman. Neither one has it. So now you have Speranza with he had, if I am remembering here, Speranza has nothing, right? So he has his 4 clubs, yeah. Didn't hit it, doesn't have a pair. I mean, he's got nothing. Speranza has absolutely nothing. You have Yonkers over here with his ace high. Just double checking. He's got the queen of diamonds. We got our clubs were checked. Yeah, it's sad. Some sad poker playing. There's nothing. So we're literally playing an ace high versus an 8. Speranza has an 8. Yonkers has this queen. So it goes to Yonkers first with his ace high, and he checks to Speranza. Well, Speranza does the most ridiculous thing in my mind, because I'm not a professional poker player, so I would panic, I would fold, I would get out while I still can. Well, he bets. He bets. And when you think about it, neither player has played at this time. They've checked the whole time. So they bet initially to stay in, they called, whatever, but no one's played. They've been staring at each other, eye contact. They're both to some degree bluffing. They have literally nothing in their hands, but they're not backing down. They are there to play. They are there to win. They know that they're the only ones who know what's in their hand, and they're playing it like it's the best hand they've ever seen. Not playing it that well, but they're playing it like they're going to win, right? So Speranza bets. And the announcers kind of taking like this gasp, like, oh, like, why would he do that? Like, he doesn't really have anything. This is, So naturally, Yonkers is going to fold because he's an ace high, and the guy just bet. So he's got a low pair, he's got something. He has no idea that the guy that bet has nothing in his hand. But for one reason or another, Yonkers decides to call him and flips his cards with his ace high, and Speranza folds without showing his cards because he knew he was out. And I'm watching these guys play, and I'm thinking that's what professional players do. They read the room, they read their opponents, they read their obstacles, they read their risk, and they kind of measure out, what's the worst that could happen, but also what's the best that could happen. And when you play your whole life to get to the final table, you're not going to play small. You're not going to limp in. You're not going to play with caution. You're going to play to win because you only get one shot. It's not like you're going to be back at the World Series of Poker next year at the final table. You might get to get qualified back to the tournament. You might get to do well again. You might get back to the final table. I don't know what the odds are of that, but there's a lot of people in these tournaments, right? And so you play in that moment like it's the only moment you're ever going to have, because for all you know, it is. And even if the only thing he's holding in his hand is ace high and he has no idea what the other player's got, he's going to play to win. He read the room. He read the circumstance. He felt like his opponent didn't have anything. He called him and he was right, and he won that hand. And I believe he went on to win the tournament. And I thought to myself, in life, how often do we play like those professionals? And what I mean by that is you think about all that's on the line at that final table where you don't get a do-over, you don't get a second chance, you don't get to review the tape and play again, you don't get a peek at your opponent's cards. So there's a lot at chance. So you sharpen your skills the best you can to give yourself the best odds. And how fitting is that to our life the way that it is right now? Our final table is exactly what we're doing. You're not going to get another shot at life. You don't get a do-over. You don't get the chance to go back and review the tapes and realize, you know what? When I wanted to chase that dream, when I wanted to quit that job, when I wanted to start that family, when I wanted to go travel the world, when I wanted to whatever, I misread my circumstance, or I was too scared to go all in. And so I just kind of checked my way down the road because that was safe. Because, sometimes we would rather play it safe and risk losing, or play it safe and risk and not risk losing, than go all in and risk winning. Think about that. In your life right now, are you playing it safe so that you don't lose? Or are you going all in so that you win? You don't play it safe and win. Now, sometimes you might go all in and lose. That's true. That is absolutely true. But if you remember last week on our live, we talked about Theodore Roosevelt and his great speech about the man in the arena, right? So if I can reference back to that, yeah, I have it written down right here because I printed it out to hang it on my wall. If you guys didn't, I'm not sure what's wrong with you. I'll make sure you get a copy so you can print it out and hang it on your wall. But Theodore Roosevelt taught us that the man who risks, right? The man at his worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Because at the end of the day, my friends, if you want to experience victory in your life, you're going to have to get really comfortable with the idea that you're also going to experience defeat. It's true. You do. We all know the story about Thomas Edison, right? How many light bulbs did he make before he found the one that worked? The story about Michael Jordan. How many shots did he take before he became the greatest of all time? You know, I haven't checked the statistic in the recent history. I'm going to say that it probably still stands today that he's lost more games than any other player in the history of the NBA, but he's also won more, right? So you have to experience, it's like victory and defeat aren't opposite ideas. It's not like day and night or hot and cold. Like those are opposite ideas. Victory and defeat are kind of like opposite sides of the same coin, because this means that you are playing, that you're putting yourself out there, that you are taking the risk, that you are boldly going in the direction of your dreams. And whether you have victory or you have defeat, what you've got at the end of the day is results for willing to go at it and doing your best. The other side of that is inaction, is a mediocre life, is having nothing to show for your time here on earth, having no legacy to leave for your family. It's not victory or defeat. It's experience or nothingness. So I ask you in your life to really examine the places where defeat is so scary, loss is so scary, ridicule is so scary, embarrassment is so scary. Those feelings of just not making it are so scary that they are holding you into a state of inaction. And I want you to realize that victory or defeat, it's all part of the same journey. The journey that you, my friend, deserve to be on. Every one of us has a purpose in this life. I believe that in my core. I know that without a shadow of a doubt. Just like I know without a shadow of a doubt, the sun is going to rise tomorrow in the morning and it's going to set in the evening and the waves are still going to be in the ocean the next time I see it. I know those things to be true. And I also know that you have a purpose in this life and that you will never be able to fulfill that if you continue to let the fear of defeat hold you back. So you have to learn to play the hand that you're dealt like a pro. Don't let the circumstances dictate when you move. You might never get the royal flush. Sorry. A lot of things in life worth having don't come easy. You may never get the royal flush dealt to you, but you can win with ace high. You just have to believe in yourself. You have to go out there and chase it. You have to get out of your own way, and you have to work on sharpening your skills so you can play that circumstance. And that is what I have learned this week from studying the professional poker players. So I hope you enjoyed that live at the lounge with me, Danny Lozano, your entertainment for the evening. If you loved it, I would love to hear below. Just comment, just tell me that it stood out to you. Tell me what hand you're playing, say whatever you need to, but the comments, I go back, I read every single one of them. I would love for you, this is what I would love for you to do right now. If you are watching me on your phone, which probably 90% of you are, maybe 95, screenshot this. Okay, I'm going to count down and give you a screenshot. Are you ready? We're going to screenshot. Do you know how? Typically with your phone, it's like the buttons on the side. Are you ready? Like this? Okay. I'm going to count down from 5. Okay. Okay, get ready. Get your fingers ready. We're going to screenshot this. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you get it? Did you get it? Oh, I hope you got it. So now I want you to go post that in a story. Put that in your Instagram story. Put that in your Facebook story. Tag me at Drinking with Dani and say you just learned that you are going to play your cards like a pro because you were in the lounge tonight getting fired up. Can you do that for me? Because I want to share this. I want to make sure it gets out there. Somebody out there needs to hear it. We got to get out of our own way. We got to learn to learn and grow and dream and achieve, because that is what life is all about, my friends. So until next time, thank you for being live at the lounge tonight. I am Dani Lozano. We are changing our worlds one drink at a time. And cheers.